part 2. The phone rang and cut the video off. If you are focusing on positivity for 5 minutes out of a 24-hour day, what chance have you got that you're actually going to change the way you feel? That you're actually going to somehow naturally start to think positively? You're not. And the same goes for anything you're trying to do, be, have, or change in your life. Because let's take an example of you want to lose weight. So you want to lose some weight and you go on a diet. And you start to lose the weight. But we know that most people find their weight again. They kind of go up, they go down, they go up, they go down. And the reason for that is there's a big guy programmed into who you are. And it's called your self-image. And it's a massive part of this paradigm that we're born with, gets programmed in our early life, and then we continue to program ideas into that. And it's fixed by the age of about 35. So by the time we get to 35, around 35, these ideas, these thoughts, the opinions, the beliefs that the way we see the world, the way we see ourselves, the way we see other people, that's a fixed set of ideas in a computer program. So after 35, you will see that pretty much people's lives, you can predict kind of what's going to happen for them year over year over year. There might be some tweaks, there might be some minor things that change, but pretty much it's going to be the same. Over the long term, it's going to be the same, unless we change the paradigm. Now I'm going to talk about that in a second. Self-image, it's a massive part of the paradigm, and that is a set of thoughts and ideas. As I keep saying, it's a set of thoughts and ideas, but it's everything. It's your setting. Think of it as a setting. So it's a setting in relation to how much you weigh, your fitness. It's a setting in relation to how you love, how you dream, how you think, the money you expect to earn. That's where imposter syndrome comes in. So let's say you get promoted. Let's say you think, deep down you have a belief system that says, I expect in my life that I'll have the capability, intellect, confidence, resources to achieve this level. Let's say it's in an organisation. So I'm going to be a manager in an organisation. And you have the ideas that in harmony with, that's who I can be, and I believe that. I don't believe I'd ever be anything higher than that, but that's where I believe I can get to. So let's say you get to that manager level, we'll call it, and you do well, and all of a sudden somebody promotes you 2 steps up, so all of a sudden you're a director. And you've got this role that is a role that you did never, ever, ever, on any level, expected to have. You're earning some money that you never expected to earn. These ideas here are ideas in harmony with you at the manager level. So when you get promoted, what imposter syndrome is it's the fear and anxiety that go with, I don't believe I'm worthy. The ideas that are programmed in my computer system say that's not me. So we get imposter syndrome, which shows up as anxiety, lack of confidence. We try to be perfect because we think we have to work so hard to prove we can do this job, and we're just waiting to get found out, and somebody's going to say, I promoted you too soon, you failed, get back down to where you belong. Or maybe you even self-sabotage because it just doesn't sync up with how you see yourself. So this whole thing, everything I've just talked about, whether it's to do with you being as positive as can be, or you going after something that is bigger, different than the way you're programmed, the exciting thing is you absolutely can. You absolutely can, because the only thing that's keeping you where you are, whether that's your thought processes, or it's your career, or it's your earnings, or it's your relationships, the only thing that's keeping you where you are is this programming. And when you know that exists, and you understand its power, and you learn how to change it, you open up your world, because you can then go after things that you wouldn't even have dreamed. Right now you'll be thinking, well, there's nothing I want. When you realise that even you deciding what you want is a programmed idea, this is the most powerful thing. They are just ideas. They are just opinions. Some of them are yours. Well, they're all yours now, but some of them were given to you by other people. So you might have had a test in school and you did badly in maths on one day, and all of a sudden you believe you're bad at maths. That's me, by the way, which I really can't get my head around it. The numbers side. I'm really looking forward to helping Ada with her maths next week. So, but remember that these ideas that we've accepted, we don't realise we've consciously accepted them for the most part. But we can go and we can say, you know, I don't choose to believe that my intellect is limited, or I don't choose to believe that I'm not confident. I don't choose to believe that my limitation is manager level, or my limitation is whatever, a relationship that looks like this. I want a relationship that looks like this. They're just thoughts and opinions, and you can change them anytime you choose, once you know how. So I'm going to talk about how to change them in a second, but I want to relate this to the current situation, because everything I've just said about paradigms exist in communities, in cultures, in businesses, in the world. And a simple example is, years and years and years ago, the belief system, the universal paradigm, the thing that we all agreed as true and fact, was that there is no way a human can get in a box and fly across the sky. There's no way a human can fly. And there were people of that era, of back then, the Wright brothers, who didn't accept that. They didn't buy into that universal paradigm. They decided to use their imagination and believe that they could find a way for humans to fly. Now, we universally, collectively, we agree and accept that it is possible for us to fly. That is a belief system that we all now agree with, because it's there. The world being flat is another one I always use. You know, it was so logical why we would have, all the finest minds in the world would believe that the earth was flat at one point. But what happens is something happens and it changes, and we call it a paradigm shift. So when science creates paradigm shifts, there's examples through history, the earth being flat being one of them. And you get a paradigm shift. So all of a sudden we believed one thing and now we believe another. And that is so true for your own individual paradigm. The way everything you believe to be so dear and true today, some of it you're conscious of, some of it you're not. It's all just beliefs, and you can choose new beliefs anytime you want. The challenge is, it's challenging because it's such a locked-in program, and there are only two ways to change your paradigm. One way is the way I've kind of demonstrated, is you look for the ideas and the thoughts and the beliefs that you're holding on to that are deep in your subconscious mind, that you've kind of, that been there forever, and you pick the one that's not in harmony with what you want. Whether it's, let's say it's weight loss, let's say it's a job, let's say it's positivity. So and you want to be more positive. You pick the idea and you replace that idea with the opposite of that, or the positive, or the outcome you want. And you replace it one at a time. One by one by one, you can upgrade this entire belief system to a new belief system that is the you that you want to be. The beliefs you want to have, the material things you want to have, the job you want to have, the relationships. It starts here. It starts here because this controls your behaviour. Just consciously deciding to do something different is never going to win over this. It's never going to win over this. So that's one way to change your paradigm. The other way is a direct emotional impact. And I believe that's possibly where we are right now in the world. If you think about 9/11, 9/11 is a direct emotional impact where something happens. If you were involved in 9/11 in some way, you will never see the world the same again. It kind of shakes everything and you just don't see the world again the same way. A divorce, a death, illness, these big emotional impacts, they create paradigm shifts. Your belief system is just shaken in its core. And they're usually negative though. So there are only two ways to change a paradigm. Direct emotional impact, which is usually negative, or we replace one idea at a time and we decide the beliefs we want to be choosing and holding on to that are in harmony with what we want and how we want to feel, not how we don't want to feel. So when it comes to this situation then, what I'm reflecting on is, are we on the verge of a universal paradigm shift, a collective society, community paradigm shift? And I think we are, because this is unprecedented. 9/11, we never expected something like 9/11. That was out of a film. That wasn't in reality, but it happened in reality. And when we announced the school closures, I had this out-of-body experience where I thought I was looking at a movie. Or when we see Italy locked down, and we might be the next country to be locked down in the UK. You just never imagined that was possible. It's just on nobody's kind of, it's nowhere in here for any of us that this would ever happen. So it is a big emotional impact for everybody. So I believe that this will create a paradigm shift, and this is the way I've been tuning my thoughts. So we've been saying for like years that, you know, I guess our belief system is who we are as a society now is, you know, we care only about our me and mine. We don't care about community. We don't really connect with community. We don't talk to our neighbours. We care about consumerism. We care about things. We rush to the shops to buy the latest whatever. We buy 50,000 Easter eggs. We buy millions of Christmas presents. We don't spend time with our kids. We're all really busy. You know, we all spend lots of time on our phone. We binge watch box sets. We watch Love Island on a loop. All of these things, these beliefs that we have about who we are as a society, they actually create the reality, by the way. The beliefs create the real physical reality in the real world. But I'd like to think that when this all these pieces then start to land, you know, we're going through a big shift. So we're going to be at home for the most part, most of us, and we're going to be forced to prioritise what's important. So we're going to be going to the shops for things like milk and bread, not things like football stickers and Kinder eggs, which is a lot of what I do. Magazines that cost £6 and have a lot of plastic stuck to them. You know, we're going to be let's play board games. Maybe we'll do puzzles, and we will maybe get back to this back to basics life that we kind of nostalgically think about but never think we'll achieve. I was on the phone to my neighbour. There's a neighbour lives out the back of us, and I know she lives on her own because she lost her husband a couple of years ago. And I've only spoken to her once in 7 years. And we had a 10-minute conversation. I wanted to make sure she had what she needed, and we had a chat. And she's an amazing lady. She's over 70, but she's been to the tennis club, and they're keeping safe. But they're in the open air. But she can't go to shops because obviously that's higher risk for her. But you know, I had a conversation with her, and then tomorrow, me and a neighbour are going to walk around our local area and post our details so that people have a contact. These are things I would never have done. I would never have done in my old kind of way of working. So these things are shifting, you know, and I like to believe optimistically that when this all lands, you know, we're going to develop new habits because we're going to be at home with our kids. We're going to be reading with them. We're going to be sitting talking to them. We're going to maybe we'll eat round a table more often than not instead of going off to different rooms. I'm sure there'll still be a lot of the habits that we'd like to get rid of, like screen time and too much TV. We're going to have to do what we can to stay sane. That's not really the point, though. It's a kind of a bigger picture point, which is we're on the verge of some kind of paradigm shift as a society. And I think when it all lands, it's going to be kind of landing for the better, you know, landing for more trust, more community, realising what we're capable of as human beings, and realising actually we're not these people who care about me and mine, because evidence is showing that we're not. The internet is full of people doing anything they can think of to help each other, doing anything they can think, you know, musicians, you know, Netflix parties. That's really, isn't that our true colours then? Isn't that who we are as human beings coming out of this? So that's the way I'm choosing to look at things. And those are my reflections about your paradigms and paradigms in general, belief systems effectively. So I'm going to go because I've got an hour to prepare. We're kicking off with, I've got a new client group starting and we're kicking off lesson 1. I teach a 12 lesson process, and lesson 1 is all about finding your purpose. So it's thinking about everything I just said. Actually, the paradigm keeps us locked into thinking that where we are right now is where we'll always be. And I talk about the fact that most of us set a goal or think about what we want in life based on the ideas we have about who we think we can become. So we're setting like a goal or an objective, or we're deciding what we want in life, regardless of how old we are. It doesn't matter at all. The goal could be the next 6 months or the next 10 years. But we tend to kind of think about who we are, what we believe we're capable of, where's our setting in relation to where we think we can go, and then we set a goal based on that. So this lesson is all about thinking differently, because it's about saying, you know, all of that doesn't matter because it's just a belief system. What do we really want? And I ask people, how do they want to spend their days? What do you want to trade your life for? Because whatever you're getting up and doing every single day right now, it's your life. You're trading it for what you're doing right now. And if what you'd like to trade your life for isn't that, we get clear on what it is. And it's great because we talk about a C-type goal, and a C-type goal is something you really, really want, but you haven't got a clue how to get there. And that's the starting point. And we talk about how everybody has this massive equal potential inside of them to do, have, or be more than where they are right now. Because most of us, scientists say we don't even use 10% of our potential. So if that's true, and then most of us aim way below where we think we can go anyway, because we're kind of programmed to set goals to avoid failure. You know, well-meaning parents, you know, tell us to kind of, you know, play it safe and don't be too disappointed. And we set goals to make sure we're not disappointed, as opposed to setting goals or going after things that we might get and believing we can. So that's what it's all about anyway. So I'm going to go and prepare for that. And I love that lesson. It's kind of big, fresh start. But I hope you're all feeling good, feeling safe, and have a lovely, lovely weekend. I'll be preparing for becoming a teacher on Monday, homeschooling. I'm sure a lot of us are doing the same. So grateful for everybody right now. I just see the love that's everywhere, and it just feels really good. So stay safe, everybody. Take care. Bye.